going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So the next DLC for this game is actually a lot closer than we think, and Spider-Man, well, it seems like something for this DLC character could actually be huge, as of course we had that Q&A from Vince Napoli yesterday, or the day before I think it was, in the mythical lands of Reddit. So we're going to be going through all of those, or I guess the most important answers on that one. So as always, 2 likes and a funny comment below is a cool thing to do, but nothing is more cool than you going ahead and clicking that big red subscribe button below if you have not already. So before I discuss Spider-Man and why all of a sudden I'm kind of like Eager Beaver on this character, I want to quickly throw in that Hawkeye's DLC is actually a lot sooner than we think, and for 2 reasons. Now firstly, I've seen people say, you know, how his kit is basically done and that essentially it's just tweaks that are being made as we speak. Now whilst we have no official comment from the devs on that one specifically, it actually makes total sense, as he was an AI in this DLC, right, that we just got. He was actually not literally playable, but I mean he was fighting alongside you, so I guess now we could only assume making the hero and, you know, its visuals, or should I say the hero's kit and his visuals, would be the hardest thing, right? So going on the basis that that's actually done, that's where we kind of go to this theory that it's way sooner than we think. Now second of all, we've discussed already the date being late January being a potential date, right, for this, but now speculation is stating something else which is rather interesting. Now I think we can all agree that the ending of the DLC, if you have already finished it anyway, was a huge cliffhanger, and if you haven't finished it, well, there you go, it's about to be a really big cliffhanger for you. Now the question is, how long can you keep that cliffhanger going? Now by the way, I'm not trying to jinx that, okay, because as I just said that, I just imagined like a 6-month delay, alright, but that would be terrible. Let's just never ever try to think that. But to add to that, you know, the whole, I guess, speculated date and so forth, it's now coming in that early January, like very early January, as in like the first week and a bit, could actually be the time we get this DLC. So does it make sense? Well, using simple logic here, January as a whole has to be the month, right? But early January would actually make sense as well, because he's also an archer, right, as far as his character style goes. So it would be deemed as, I'm assuming anyway, this is how I personally would feel from a developer perspective, knowing that he's an archer and you've just released an archer as well. Ultimately, I feel like it'd be a matter of trying to get that final archer out real quick, and then of course focus on dropping more literally new heroes with brand new styles, right? And of course in the order that we have in our head is Black Panther, and then of course Spider-Man, and then all the other characters. Now with the Christmas break essentially just creeping up on us real quick, them taking this time now to finalize Hawkeye before the break is and could be the most logical answer and solution as a whole to their game plan. But I want you guys to leave your thoughts on that for sure in the comments below. Now let's dive into Spider-Man, because you see this is where things could, well, get very interesting for this character, and it comes from the Q&A with Vince Napoli, where he actually said 2 interesting things. So first of all, regarding long combat, right, someone asked a really important question there, but also when it comes down to the enemies and their combat, and essentially that being altered. So I want to start off with the first one, which is about the combat, or combo string should I say, because as you see on screen, the question was, is there ever going to be a more insensitive, right, as a whole, to having long combo strings, like the increased speed in Arkham, or the focus / venom meters on Spider-Man, because at the moment there doesn't seem like there's much of a reward for long combos. Now the answer from Vince was, there isn't anything on the near horizon, but that type of metagame element is something we have definitely talked about and looked into at various times. One of the issues that makes something like a traditional combo string difficult to pursue in a game like Marvel's Avengers is, well, multiplayer, because it requires a lot of tricks to, I think, really get the type of desired effect. But with that said, the effect that it does get is something that I think would still be something worth pursuing. Now, the reason why I say this could be interesting for Spider-Man is because, first of all, you already know that I've been saying that I genuinely feel like Spider-Man will essentially play like Black Widow, right, as a whole. But after seeing Kate Bishop's playstyle, honestly, my thoughts, everything completely shifted into a new direction. And the fact that this person actually mentioned the fact of focus/venom meters on Spider-Man, for instance, would be huge, because when it comes down to that character especially, I think getting combo strings is going to be one of those key necessities, right, that just have to come with that DLC. We've already had it and been able to experience it, right, as a Marvel fan base, right, from the actual Spider-Man game. So it only makes sense for them to try and implement a more sort of incentive, I guess, to just doing these long combo strings. But this is where it goes on to the next one, which kind of got me thinking about Spider-Man's enemies and bosses as well, because here the question was, the combat for this game has been a lot of fun for my friends and I, each character feeling unique from fighting style/technique to moving around the miscellaneous areas. Two questions. How much can we expect in different combat when new baddies/henchmen and bosses are added? Will I have to completely alter my attacking style when going after a bot versus, for instance, a mobster henchman? In the development process, how frequently has something been developed that essentially you thought was extremely cool and then you decide to shelve it because it essentially isn't the right fit in terms of available heroes currently? Now, the answer to this question is interesting, because he says that when it comes to the new enemies and bosses that they are working on, we're actually definitely focusing all our efforts towards creating encounters that really offer something new and really justify why we would add them to get, you know, the game, rather than just creating variety for variety's sake. Now, I'd say that especially with some of the new bosses we are working on, with Super Adaptoid being, you know, just the beginning and a starting point, we are really focusing on incentivizing and rewarding meta strategies and really specific playstyles, especially when it comes to the higher tier/multiplayer focused threats, if that makes sense. But essentially said that all the bosses that are being added are actually well thought through, so they have to have a meaning to whatever character that it is, right? And again, going back to Super Adaptoid, this is where you kind of are able to just brainstorm where and which direction we can go through with now. So first of all, when it comes down to Hawkeye's DLC, what villain will we get, right? We know we're going to more than likely get a new boss, but who is that, you know, boss or villain going to be? But then again, going on to the other one when it comes down to Spider-Man and having things that are more incentivizing, right, when it comes down to combos, that has to be a DLC character with the boss being someone unique. Is it going to be unique to that character specifically? Are they going to go ahead and throw in Thanos at one point? We have no idea, but we do know that things could look very, very bright for the Spider-Man character. But prior to that, I'm assuming it's going to be Black Panther after Hawkeye, and that's when that heat is definitely going to get dialed up for this game. But I want you guys to leave your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comments below, and it's going to wrap this video up here. So I'll see you in the next one. Till then, have yourselves a ridiculously amazing day, and adios amigos.